Hello everybody, in this video I wanted to talk to you guys about should you use ads on YouTube or ask for donations in your videos and then leave them ad-free. So this is kind of a debate that's been going on mostly since things started getting demonetized on videos, and usually the type of videos that do get demonetized tend to be ones that are political in nature, so people saying things that other people don't really agree with, and then some pressure gets put on YouTube to do something about it. And as a result, some videos were getting demonetized, which is really bad for a lot of people, because when you do have a channel that is supported purely through ad revenue, and you lose that ad revenue, then you kind of go into panic mode. It's sort of like if you had a game uploaded to a store, and then that store decided to take it down, even though that's where 90% of your sales are coming from. Yeah, it's kind of that bad. So there's really two sides to this, which is you use donations or you choose to run ads on your videos, and while you're running ads on your videos, you can choose to still have a Patreon link, and a lot of channels do that, but generally the ad revenue is what mainly supports those videos and the content that the creators are coming up with. So behind the idea of doing a donation channel, a purely donation channel, which I've seen very few channels do it, one would be Stefan Molyneux, who does philosophy-based content. There are some upsides to choosing not to run ads on your video. There are some upsides to choosing not to run ads on your videos. For instance, one thing people talk about is that the people watching the video are going to be glad that they don't have to sit through ads in order to watch your video. Now, the ads on YouTube, they don't really hit you that hard. It's typically like one advertisement every 10 minutes. So that's already a lot less than something like cable TV. But there is a plus there, and by not having your videos ad-supported, it is sort of an appeal to doing what's right. So every user is going to know, hey, I'm not watching any ads and consuming all of this content. And in the cases of channels like Stefan Molyneux, some of his videos are hours long. So you kind of know in your heart that it's the right thing to do to pay for what you take. So if you're listening to tens of hours of content on a channel that's completely ad-free, and you donate nothing or do nothing to help that channel, like or share the video, then you're kind of benefiting without giving anything in return, and that's not exactly what we would call a fair relationship. Beyond that, when you remove the connection between your channel advertisers and the viewer, then the content you're providing is going to be thought of in more of a peer sense, because you're producing content that's specific to what your viewers want, because the only way you would actually get paid or supported on your channel is if you create content that impresses the viewer, tells the viewer what the viewer needs to know, and you don't have to worry about how much pay-per-click you get on your ad revenue. So basically, you don't have to target certain keywords, you have to target what your audience is looking for. And of course, because your support for a channel like that becomes decentralized, you're relying on each individual audience member to contribute and not YouTube AdSense. Then you have decentralized support, and the only real way anyone can do damage to your channel is if all of the audience members decide they no longer wish to support you, and you don't have that magic red button where some executive somewhere decides they don't like your channel, hits the button, and you're basically ruined. However, it doesn't completely eliminate all the risks, because at the end of the day, even though you aren't reliant on the ads to support your channel, if you are hosting your videos on a platform like YouTube or Udemy or any other ones out there, if you say things that are against the terms of service, it's still within their rights to basically remove your channel, which could totally cripple what you're doing. And then on the other side, why you would run ads on your YouTube channel, which most channels still do, if people don't happen to like the ads that are on YouTube, they can actually go for YouTube Red, which I think is something like $10 a month, makes YouTube ad-free, gives them access to some extra content. Or you could just use AdBlock and ignore the ads altogether. I think we're at about the day and age where most people probably have heard of AdBlock, so if they really were having that big of an issue with the ads, they can block them themselves. They don't need to really sit through them. And if they do decide to go to YouTube Red, how YouTube Red works is that as basically a premium member on YouTube, paying that monthly subscription fee, when they watch videos, a chunk out of the subscription fee that they're paying to YouTube actually does go to the creators. So it's kind of like they watched the ads and clicked on the video, and some of the money did go to the creator, but without having actually watched the ads. I won't pretend to be an expert on exactly what happens behind the scenes with AdSense and companies basically bidding on content, but I do know from AdWords, which is basically the purchaser's side of AdSense, at least for regular websites, that you can go ahead and block certain domains, you can choose to target certain keywords, and you have some of these tools which allow you to limit where your ads are shown. Because obviously, if you're not talking about technology on a channel, why would a tech company actually want to advertise on your channel? So if you are putting out a message that some company out there really doesn't agree with, then they can pull their bid from that market, from your videos, and companies that do agree with your message can go ahead and still bid on your videos. So at least in theory, there shouldn't be any problem between the companies disagreeing with your content, because any company is well within its rights to choose where they put their ads. And in fact, they should be selective about where they choose their ads, because they're going to be a lot more effective in one area rather than another area, one channel than another channel. And even if a channel does end up with an ad being played on the video that are completely at odds with the message that they're spreading, I would think it's common sense that everybody understands that the ads that play on a video are not necessarily representative of the opinions of the creator, and the opinions of the creator are not necessarily representative of that which the ads are talking about. Two separate entities, and the relationship between those is purely business. And then, of course, the YouTube creators aren't even picking out the specific ads that they want to play on their videos. The services behind YouTube are figuring that out with a bidding auction. So I mentioned earlier on the donation side of things that if you choose not to run ads in your video and you're purely doing it through donations, then in theory you wouldn't have to create content that is targeting at keywords. But I would argue that actually when you do create content, even as a donation-based channel, you still have to create content that gets views for your video, because the number of donations you get is largely going to be impacted by the number of people coming to your channel and subscribing to your channel. So it's not as if you can go out there and say any random thing you want and expect to still be successful. Now, in this next point, I'm kind of going off of what some of the bigger channels say, that most of the people who come to a channel and watch the videos do not actually donate. That's even on places like Stefan Molyneux's channel, where the content is ad-free. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of the world, because those who do donate are often quite generous about it. And it is possible to generate enough money to keep the lights on for that kind of business model. But it is a little bit of an annoyance. I've found it sometimes easier to get people to buy something like a $30 course rather than to donate a single dollar to a channel that is in theory providing them value, because you're creating videos and that does take time, it takes editing. And on top of that, if you are going to go the donation route, you do have to inform your audience that, hey, you gotta donate to the channel because there's no ads here, this takes time, if you want me to keep making more content, then that's going to be necessary. Which is, in a way, very similar to actually just running an ad on your channel. Yes, they have different endpoints in how the money comes in. One says, okay, the ad wants you to buy a product. If you go click on that and buy the product, then the business on the other side is happy and the ad revenue comes in for the user. But with the donation route, it's more direct. You still have to be asked for 20-30 seconds, like an ad would take up anyway. So it's not exactly saving the user time in that regard. So you know what, I'm actually going to set up a poll card in this video. Do you think that ads on free content are annoying? Would you rather that all YouTube channels actually switch to a donation-based model and cast the ads aside altogether? If so, would you actually support that? Or do you feel it's better to just have a guilt-free relationship where you watch the ads, they get a little bit of money, and that's the end of the story? So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys on my future content for